Daf Pe Dalid. We are continuing from the top of Pe Dalid Amud Aleph, first word. We're jumping back into the sugya of Rabbi Elazar and Shimon Bar Yochai. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai's son. We're going to be going into a lot of details about them right before Lag BaOmer. No coincidences. Pretty amazing. And the last thing we had mentioned was, before we got sidetracked, was how he was in charge of arresting thieves, and he felt bad that he had that guy killed. So now, even though he saw that his fats didn't spoil and he knew he was innocent, but he still felt guilty. Even though he was seemingly innocent, did not feel guilt-free. Therefore, Kabir Allah Yisrael accepted physical suffering. He accepted Yisurim on himself. Shalom Eda. Borta and item have a mechile that would prepare for him underneath him. Shitin namte 60 layers of felt. Metute. And in the morning they would draw from him Shitin mishichle dama vekiba, 60 basins of blood and pus from the boils that were on his body because he requested to suffer. Now we're going to see the number 60 many, many times in the next few lines. And the Maharshal says that this is every time it says 60 over here, it's an exaggeration. It means many. So he had many layers of felt under him, and many basins of blood and pus would come from him. The next day, Abdullah to his wife would prepare for him, sheeting min lifta, 60 types of fig foods. He didn't recover. His wife would not let him go. The Mechla Ben Midrash to go to the Bet Midrash because in the Hachmim there would bother him because he had arrested some of the relatives. At nighttime, he would talk to Hashem and request the pains again. My brother and friends, come give me. He would request the Yisurim. In the morning, he would tell the Yisurim, don't disrupt me now because I have to learn Torah at home. One time, his wife heard him asking for more pain. She told him, because of all this expenses with these garments and the buckets and the food that I have to prepare for you, you're wasting all of our money. My father. Imrida, she ran out. As a little bit Nasas, she went to her father's house. Seemingly has no way to support himself. All of a sudden, 60 senators came. They brought him 60 slaves, who were holding 60 money bags. A lot of money bags, a lot of slaves, and he hosted them, so they were thankful. They prepared for him the fig foods. He ate them. One day, the wife told her daughter, go check out how your father's feeling. What's he doing? She came, he told her, go to your mother. Right now, I'm more wealthy than what her father had. And therefore he said about himself, from Eshet Chayil, the Torah brings sustenance. Because she wasn't there, he ate, drank, got back his strength, and the father Ben Midrash went to Ben Midrash because she didn't stop him. They brought him 60 types, 60 samples of Nida blood. Woman brought him to check. Taharino, he said they're Otahor. The Hashemim were talking to each other and said, so that is it really possible that not one of them might be Pasul, Tameh? Amalu, he said to them, Im Kamotihu, if I'm right, Yani they're all Tahor, Yihu Kulam Zechirim, they all get pregnant, they all have baby boys. If not, let to be one girl be born. Hayu Kulam Zechim, they're all boys, Vasikul Rabbi Lazar al Shemeh, they named them all after his name. And the Berta says, Amar Rabbi says, Kama Pirya Verevia Bitla Resha'azu Israel. This king that made him be the thief arrester stopped him from doing his duty of checking the Nida blood, and therefore he stopped people from having children. When he was dying, Amar La Liberté told his wife, I know the rabbis are still angry at me. They won't take care of me properly. They won't let me be buried with my father, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. Lay me down to rest in my attic. Don't be afraid of the fact that I won't be buried. Amar Rabbi Shmuel bar Achmani ishtabali imed Rabbi Yonatan. Rabbi Yonatan's mother told me the ishtabala b'yitu Rabbi Elazar ben Shimon, who heard from the wife of Rabbi Elazar ben Shimon directly. Lo pachut mitmare sare v'lo tfime esin tren shnid. It was his body was there for 18 to 22 years. And when she went in the attic, she would see, she would check his hair. One would fall out, blood would come out, even though he was a corpse. Corpse doesn't have blood anymore, but his body was kept fresh from Hashem, that he would still have blood. One day I saw a worm that was coming from his ear. She got nervous that maybe now he's decomposing and the body is becoming wormy. He came to her in a dream. Amar li, he told me, Lo midihu, don't worry about it. There's nothing to do with decomposition. Yom Achad, the reason why it happened is because one day I heard someone making fun of a Hamid Hassam. And I did not protest as I should have. And therefore, because I didn't protest, that's why he had that worm. People would come to his house for judgment. They would stand by the gate of the house. Each one would state his case. And the voice would come from the attic and say, it would say, you are chayav or you are patur. Wild. One day, the wife was fighting with another neighbor. Amrallah, the neighbor told her, cursed her, you shall be just like your husband. You'll never be buried just like your husband. When Hamim heard this, okay, now the fact that people know about this and the fact that the rabbi's not buried yet and the fact that they're cursing the wife that should be like her husband, this is not proper. Some people say, Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai, some people say that Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai came to them in a dream, Amar lahu, and he told them, I have one fledgling, I have one child among you. You guys don't want to bring him to me. He's asking for his son to be buried by his kever. Again, Lag BaOmer, amazing. They went to bury him. The residents of the town didn't let them leave with the body because the whole whenever his body was in that attic, not one wild animal entered the city. There was a protection. So what did they do? To put it, have it one day at Yom Kippur. Have it treated. They were busy getting ready. They sent the residents of a nearby town. They took his body. They brought it to Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai's kever, the cave. They found a snake circular around the cave because it had its mouth on its tail, so it was like a circle blocking the cave. Amrullah, they told it, open your mouth, serpent. The Kenes ben Etzel Aviv, and let the son come to his father. The snake opened up and they buried Rabbi Shimon next to Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai. Now, after he got buried, a while after, Rabbi sent a shliach to speak to the wife, maybe to marry her. Shal Chaleh, she sent back to him, Kli shenishtamesh bo kodesh. Should a kli that was used for kodesh, ishtamesh bo kol, should be used for secular? She's comparing Rabbi, which is Rabbi Yudan, the one who made the Mishnah and everything. She considered him chol compared to Elazar. Tama Amrin, some people say that she said it this way. The place where the master of the mansion hung his weapon, the shepherd, the simple shepherd, shall hang his bag. Again, another insult. He answered her, it's true that he was bigger than me in Torah. Maybe I think I'm bigger than him in Maasim Tovim. She answered back, but Torah I didn't know that he was bigger than you in Torah. You just told me now. Maasim Yadanav, I know he's for sure bigger than you in good deeds because the Habi Alei Yisuri, because he accepted Yisurim on himself. But Torah Mahi, how did Rabbi know that Rabbi Shimon is bigger than him? At one point, these rabbis were sitting on benches because they were the chief rabbis. The students, Rabbi Elazar ben Shimon and Rabbi, what's that with them on the floor? Makshub Mufarki, and they would ask questions very well. They're very good Talmidim. Amri, the Chachamim said, Mimehen Anu Shutim. We're learning from them, and they're sitting on the floor. They made benches, and they sat them on benches. Amar Rabbi Shmuel Gamliel, Pedai Chadish Benachem. Rashbag said to the other Chachamim, I have one child among you, but many. You're trying to kiss it from me. Meaning, seemingly the same thing. He's like, if you're making these rabbis so elevated so quickly, they're going to get Ayin Hara. So Achtu Rabbi, they lowered Rabbi on the ground. Amar Lehen Rabbi Yeshua ben Korach, Rabbi Yeshua ben Korach said, Mi sheyesh lo ach yicheh, mi she'en lo ach av yamut. Well, so the Rabbi shall live because he has a father, so you're afraid of Ayin Hara, but the one who doesn't have a father, because Rabbi Shmuel ben passed away, so Rabbi Lazar, he shall die from Ayin Hara. You didn't lower him. So they lowered him also. Halash da'aten, he was insulted. Amar, he said, Kahashik lekavati. They're comparing Rabbi to me, which is not true. Ad hahu yaman till that day, ki have Amar Rabbi Miltam, Rabbi would ever say something. Hay Ma'aseh Rabbi Lazar Shimon, Rabbi Lazar Shimon would bring a proof to him. Mikan ve'elach, then on, this is wild. Rabbi is Rabbi, you don't see. Ki have Amar Rabbi yesh li la'ashib. Whenever Rabbi would say, I have a question, Amar Rabbi Lazar Shimon, Rabbi Lazar Shimon would preempt him by telling him, Kach v'kach yesh lecha la'ashib. I know the question, this is the question. Zuti tishavatach, this is your answer. Now that you have surrounded me with the questions and stuff, it's all nonsense. Rabbi saw how powerful Rabbi Shimon was. He told his father Rashbag what happened. Rashbag told him, Beni, my son, don't be sad. Shehu Ari ben Ari, because he's a lion, a powerful rabbi, the son of the lion, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, another powerful rabbi. The Ata, you, Ari, you're a lion, Ben Shual, the son of the fox. Rashbag was calling himself a fox, also giant. But he was comparing him a fox to the Rashbi. Behind the Rabbi, that's why Rabbi says, Shosha Abanatan, there were three people who were very humble. These were Abba, my father, Rashbag, for doing this, Ubnei Betera, the people of Betera, Yonatan ben Shaul, Yonatan, the king, son of King Shaul. Rabbi Shimon Gamliel had the man, we just mentioned Rabbi Shimon Gamliel because he said that he considers himself a fox and not a lion. Bnei Betera Damar, we know that Betera was also considered humble because we have a story. When they asked Hillel to sit at the head of the table, they had a question, he answered the question, they made them immediately, they made him a Nasi over them, even though they were considered the Nasi'im. That was very humble. Yonatan ben Shaul, also humble, because he told David, I'll be your second in command. Even though his father was king, he acknowledged David's greatness and said, you're going to be king, I'll be your second in command. Now the Gemara says, maybe the other people were not so humble. Maybe Yonatan wasn't so humble. He knew that David was going to be king, and therefore he knew to bow his head. Also, they allowed Hillel to become Nasi because they saw that he was better than them. But Rashbag was a pure and humble person. Okay. Amar Rabbi. Habibini Sirin, he says, the suffering is very, very powerful and beloved to him. He accepted himself 13 years of suffering. Sheet bit smirta, 6 years of smirta, which is kidney stone. Ushva b'tzvarna, and 7 years of tzvarna, which is thrush in the mouth. I'm going to listen to say shiva b'smirta v'shivri the opposite. The guy in charge of the animals at Rabbi's house, was wealthier than Shor Malka because he used to sell all the dung from all the Rabbi's animals. It was a lot. Whenever he would feed the animals, the noise was so loud that it would travel 3 meals long. And what do you do? He would purposely throw the food so it would make noise. He said when Rabbi would go to the bathroom because he would scream from the pain of the kidney stone. But still people heard the voice that Rabbi's crying. Even people in the sea heard it. Even so, his suffering of Lazar Shimon was worse than Rabbi. They came from love, left through love. Rabbi, however, they came because of an event, and they left because of an event. What happened? What was the reason why Rabbi got punished with suffering? There was an animal, a calf that was being led to slaughter, a young calf. As the time that he ran away from the slaughterhouse and hid his head by Rabbi's garment. The Kabachin was crying, he didn't want to die. Amar Rabbi told it, Deal goes to get slaughtered. The Kachmatzata, this is what we were created for. Amr, they said in Shemaim, Whoever look Kamerachim, since he didn't show mercy, let to Allah Yisrin, he should suffer. He should have felt bad that the young calf was suffering. True, animals get slaughtered, but it was young. He should have had mercy on it. By what reason the suffering went away? Because had one day his maidservant was sweeping the house. There was weasels on the floor that got swept up, baby mice. And she was chucking them. He told her, leave them. The pasuk says, "Have mercy on all the creations." They said in the Shemayim, since he shows mercy, we'll show mercy to him. All the years of suffering, nobody died before his time. When Rabbi was suffering, no one needed rain. The said, a rainy day is troubling like a court day. It's cumbersome. Also said, rain was not necessary for the world. People would have canceled it from the world because it stopped people. Even so, even though there was no rain, when people would pluck a radish from the floor, from the dirt, it goes in the mud, the hole from the radish would be full with water. The ground was so fertile. Anyhow, Rabbi traveled to the house of Rabbi Shimon after he died. He said, Yeshlo ben, he have a son. They said, Yeshlo ben, he has a son, but Kol Zonashin is scared of B'shnayim. A hashub zona that charges $200 instead of $100 for her fees. She charges double. So charto b'shmona would hire him for 8 times the amount that she would charge. She would hire him because he's so handsome. Atias Rabbi brought him in and made him a rabbi and said to him that Rabbi Shimon ben Isi made him to Rabbi Shimon ben Isi to teach him Ahod Imeh, which is his uncle. Teach him Torah. Every day that he would say, I want to go home. I don't want to study. He said to him, Hakim Abdul they want to make you into Tamid Chacham, and they'll spread a gold garment on you. They'll call you a rabbi. You want to go home? Okay, I'll do it. I swear I'll do it. I won't bother you anymore. When he grew up at Yativ, he sat in Rabbi's midrash. He heard his voice. He said, this voice sounds like Rabbi Shimon's voice. It's his son. Rabbi said the pasuk on him. The fruit of a man is a tree of life. It's the son of Rabbi Shimon because he came from the tree of life. Someone who acquires nefashot is wise. Rabbi Shimon ben Isi ben Alkinya who taught him. When Rabbi Yosef was passing away, the grandson of Rabbi Shimon by Hari, the son of Rabbi Elazar, they tried to bury him by his father and grandfather's kever, the cave. The snake was there again. I told it, open your mouth. You can let the son bury it next to his father. They didn't open. They maybe thought, maybe it wasn't worthy. Therefore, a voice from heaven said, it's not because your is not worthy. Rabbi Shimon and Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai suffered in a cave, and therefore they got buried here. This son never suffered there. Okay. Rabbi Tafon went to Rabbi Tafon's house after his death. He said, Does that man, Rabbi Tafon, always used to swear whenever he to validate his opinion? He always say, if I had my son, and if whatever he said, if he was lying, if he wasn't saying was true, his son should die. So they said, the one who always swears on his son's life, does he have a son? I'm really telling Ben he doesn't have a son. Ben Bat Yeshlo. He has a grandson through his daughter. Same thing, he's very handsome. They brought the grandson from Rabbi. I'll give you my daughter in marriage. He did teshuvah. Ikuda Amri Nisavaha Vigirsha, some people say he got married and divorced her. Ikuda Amri, some people say, Lo Nisachar Kali didn't marry at all. Kadeshli Amru People shouldn't say Bishwazar Hazabo that he only did the Shuvah to marry her. Why did he try to help other people's children so much? Or Bitarfon, Bezar Shimon? Amar Abu Damarav, Amila, Amar Bichil, Amar Yachanan, Amila, Amar Bishmor, Amar Yachanan, Jonathan, Konrad ben Havara Torah, whoever teaches his friend's son Torah, Zochev Yoshe B'Shiva Shemal will sit with Shemaim, the Shechina in Shemaim. Shemar the pasuk says, Im Tashu v'Ashirecha lefanai ta'amot. B'chol Ma'amed ben Amar Torah, whoever teaches the son of the Amar Torah, Afidu Kodesh Baruch Hu goes to Torah even if he has a Gzerah against him, Bebatla B'Shvilo, he will cancel it for him. Shneimar the pasuk says, Bim Tausi Akar Mizlok Kefizi Amar Rabbi Parnach, Amar Rabbi Yochanan, Kol Shu Tamid Hacham, whoever is Tamid Hacham, Ubenot Tamid Hacham, and he is the son of Tamid Hacham. V'chein Benot Tamid Hacham, and his grandson is Tamid Hacham. Shuv en Torah Posekim Zerah Olam. Torah will never leave from his children forever. Shneimar the pasuk says, Va'ani Zot Beriti, Lo Yamush Mipicha, Umipi Zaracha, Umipi Zaracha. Amar Hashem, Me'atav Adlam. Hashem said from forever. Ma Amar Hashem, what do you mean Hashem said? Amar Kadosh Baruch Hu, Hashem is saying, Ani Arev Lecha V'davar Zeh, I'm your guarantor. I'm guaranteeing you. My Atav Adlam Amar B'miyam, Mikan Be'elach Torah Machzeret Al Chasan Shallah, the Torah will naturally come around in the house. Yosef Yativ Arba'in Tanaita, Yosef would fast 40 fasts, so that the Torah will stay in his family. But when they read him in a dream, Lo Yamush Mipicha. I read the first part of the pasuk. It will never leave you. And he sat 40 more fasts. The read him in the dream. Your son. If he said another 100 fasts. They read the whole pasuk. Your children, your grandchildren. Amar said, not fast anymore. The Torah will always be in my descendants. Israel. Yativ me'ata, he's fast 100 fasts. So he should forget the Talmud Bavli, so that it shouldn't distract him while learning Talmud Yerushalmi. Yativ me'achrita, he didn't fast another 100 fasts. That the should not pass away in his years. It was so important to him. Because then the community managers will fall on his head. He fasts another 100 fasts. So the fire of Ginam will not affect him. Every 30 days, what do we do to test it? Shagar would light it up an oven, so would sit in it. The fire would never hurt him. One time while he was doing it, a rabbi saw it and gave him ayin hara. His thighs became burnt. They called him the small man of the burnt thighs because he was very short. Amen.